Hi. So my name's Nadia, and I don't know how to start this video. I guess I should start by saying I decided to be a Christian a couple months ago, and it's the best choice I've ever made. It's just so amazing to be so close with God and to just have that connection with Him that I never had before. It's just a wonderful choice. It's the best choice I've ever made in my life. And I've never shared my testimony with anyone, so I feel like if I do, it'll be a lot easier for me to deal with the trials of my life. And my goal is that I need one person to hear my testimony. I just need one person to hear it and be changed by it. Even if one person watches this video all the way through and that one person changes their life or helps change someone else's life with it, I just want to change a life because I want someone to feel the way I do. I want someone to get out of the stress and out of the bad situations that I was in, that they might be in, and learn from my mistakes and turn to God before you get so far out of His grasp that I mean, that you just feel like you don't even want to be here anymore, because that's where I was. And okay, there you go. So I'm just going to start by saying that I was not raised Christian. I was raised Catholic, as my whole family is Catholic, except for my dad, who is agnostic. I don't see him that often. He moved like 8 times. His current house is only 5 minutes away. He lives there by himself. I live with my mom, and I see him every other weekend, as do my sisters live with their mom, my stepsisters, I should say. And we meet up at my dad because he has visitation rights of all 4 of us. And, yeah. So he's agnostic, and I pray all the time that he'll just find God in his life, but God has perfect timing, and I can just pray and wait. So my whole family's Catholic. That's how I was raised, but I was raised the same way my mom was raised, and my grandparents are really hardcore Catholic, but the rest of my family is just really chill. They're like, we go to church, we believe in God, we love God, but He's not Lord of our life. We're not surrounding our whole lives with God. And that's exactly how I was raised. I went to church. I told everyone if they asked, I'm Catholic, I go to St. Patrick's Catholic Church, but I didn't live it. And then people would say, really? I never knew you were religious. And I used to be like, oh yeah, of course you don't, I don't live it. But now that, if someone would say to me, wow, I couldn't tell you were a Christian, that would hurt. Because now my life is completely devoted to God. So if someone were to say now that they couldn't tell I was Christian, I'd be really upset. I would use it as a sign that I need to change. And I did need to change, and I did change. Let me just start by saying that I was dating this boy. Crazy about him. We dated and broke up like 2 or 3 times. I think it was 3 times total. We broke up, dated, broke up, dated. It was a mess. It was my first year in high school, actually. Ninth grade. I was 14. I turned 15 in November. And I'm a sophomore now, but I was in ninth grade last year, and he was my second boyfriend. I didn't have anywhere to fit in. I couldn't fit in with any of the girls in school. I wasn't popular, but I wasn't gonna fit in with the nerds. I wasn't gonna fit in with the jocks. Like, all those little cliques that are in high school, they actually exist. They're not as pronounced as they are in movies like Mean Girls and other high school movies, but they exist. And I didn't fit in with any of them. And I was looking for my place in life, and instead of looking for my place in God, I looked for my place in life in this boy, and I thought I found it. Dated on and off. The second time we dated and broke up, he told me it was because of his mom. His mom found out we were dating and she didn't like it, and just a bunch of lies and excuses. And I found out it was because he was seeing another girl, talking to another girl who, she decided, like, she was really close friends with me, and she said, no, I'm not going to talk to you. My best friend is Nadia. Why would I betray her like that? Oh, excuse me, I have a cold. I probably should have made the video when I was well again, but oh well. And, yeah. So, that completely devastated me, because I'd given this boy, like, my whole life, everything I gave to him. So, each time he dumped me, he took everything with him. I was like an empty shell of a person. My whole life, everything in this world revolved around him. And then when he left, it was like, I have nothing. He has everything. He's always had everything. What am I left with? Nothing. And so that hurt me. That took a lot out of me each time we broke up and got back together. The second time we broke up, the time that he was dating that other girl, or not dating her, talking to her, trying to get her to date him. The time that he lied, told me it was his mom. Second time, I got really depressed. I originally started thinking, like, what's wrong with me? You know, like, all these other girls in high school, all these other freshmen, all these other upperclassmen, they're beautiful. I'm sure any guy would love to date them. Look at her, she has a happy relationship. Look at them, they've been dating for a year. And, my boyfriend just left me for another girl. Why am I not good enough? And I had nowhere to find my worth in. I could not look to Jesus and find my worth in Jesus because I wasn't there yet. Religiously, spiritually, I just wasn't there yet. I was looking for my worth in boys, in social status, in the world, and I wasn't going to find it there no matter how hard I tried. It's only going to make you feel worse and worse, because you're never going to live up to the world's expectations, because every time you get there, they keep getting higher. People leave you for other people, and it's tough, but until you learn to find your worth in Jesus, like, you're not gonna get past that I'm not good enough stage. And that's where I was at. I was at the I'm not good enough stage when it's a long story, but like one day I just decided, I heard this one girl, she was really depressed, she's emo, and she cut herself, and she said that she did it because it took away the pain. I should do that. Now, no one ever told me, yes, it takes away the pain for a second, but then it's still there, and you cut it again, and then it's gone, and then it's back, and you have to cut again. It's a vicious cycle. No one ever told me that. No one ever told me how I would look around school and think, I have 5 cuts on my body, and that girl has no cuts. She has no cuts. She's flawless. Why don't I look like that? Cut again. Great, now I have 6. I'm even worse now. No one told me how vicious the cycle was and how it was never going to make anything better. But I did. It was never on my wrists, but that doesn't make a difference. It's cutting is cutting, depression is depression, you know? Just because it's not stereotypical wrist. When people think of cutting, they think, cut my wrists. Cutting is a release. It's a momentary release. Not even a moment. A millisecond release. So, yeah. That lasted a couple weeks. I would walk around school depressed, crying. I was so just out of it. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't text anyone for months. 2 months. I was depressed like this, and only my closest friends could tell. Only my really close friends would ask me, like, are you okay? You're really quiet today. You're crying a lot. Is it him? Are you still upset about him? You're not over him yet? And I wasn't just going to break out and start telling them everything that was wrong. I just kept saying, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'll get over it. Yeah, I'm fine. This happens to everyone, whatever. And then they'd be like, oh, okay, just text me if you need anything. But it went way deeper than I let anyone know. We did get back together. He made up some big excuse that he was drunk and he didn't know what he was doing, and I was like, well, I mean, I was 15. I didn't know how love worked. He'd been telling me he loved me, and I'd been saying it back, and I didn't know how love worked. I thought, I really like him. I love him. Why not? Love is whatever, I like him. He's cute. Love. It wasn't like that at all. The third time we dated, the third and final time we dated, we were kissing, we were making out, we were PDA, and I thought, wow, I really love him. Love him. So, this should be no problem. He started talking about marriage. He was telling me, we're soulmates. We're going to spend forever together. I know we had trouble in the past, but don't worry. We love each other. We're going to get married. We're going to have a golden retriever. I love you. Let's be soulmates. Let's be together forever. Okay. And I was excited about it. And I was like, what did I know about anything? I knew that I loved him. I knew he told me he loved me and he would love me forever. And gradually, he would keep asking me to do a little bit more. He'd be like, well, instead of kissing, let's just make out. Well, instead of just making out, why don't we sit on the couch? And why don't we sit in the back of your car? And I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to do that. And he'd pull the why don't you love me card. He'd pull the card that went, don't you love me? You said you wanted to spend forever with me. And I was like, well, I don't know, that's more something to do like when you're engaged, when you're married. And he was like, well, we're going to get married anyway, so why not do it now? And at the time, to little 15-year-old me who didn't know God, who didn't know anything that Christianity stood for, I just said, okay, why not? We're going to get married. Let's just do whatever we want now, because it's going to happen anyway. I was dead wrong, but mistakes happen, and that's what brought me here today. But, yeah, we did more stuff than I'd like to say. I'd like to say I've only kissed him. I'd like to say that we only held hands. I'd like to say that my shirt stayed on every time we hung out. I can't. And that kills me a little bit. Because when I get married, the next time I have a serious boyfriend, excuse me, when I start getting into serious relationships, when I'm in college, when someone from who God sent, a godly man, comes into my life and wants to make me happy and wants to love me forever, and he comes into my life saying, I've only ever kissed one girl, I've only ever held hands with one girl, you're going to be my first everything, I can't say that to him. And it kills me a little bit. Because I wish I could say, I wish my husband and I, my future husband and I, or my future serious relationship that I'm in, I wish that I could say, oh, I'm so glad I waited to make out with anyone, I waited to kiss anyone until I was with you. Or I'm so glad all my clothes stayed on until I was with you. This is perfect, we can share this together, we can do this as a married couple. I can't. So, it's a little bit upsetting because I wish I could. But, you know, mistakes happen, I guess. But, yeah, so we were talking about marriage, we were getting pretty serious, we were doing physical things that I shouldn't have done, I'm not proud of. And he broke up with me while I was on vacation with my dad. It was such a fun vacation. I was with my dad, my sisters, my dad's best friend, his whole family. I was with these two boys that I've grown up with. My dad's best friend's boy, that sounds like a dog. My dad's best friend's son. I've always called him my cousin. I've always called him Uncle TJ instead of my dad's friend TJ. So it was just a great vacation. I got to see everyone. The second day before we left, this boy called me and said, this isn't going to work. He made up some excuse about how I told a friend to tell him something, that I used someone and my friend said something bad about me and I told a friend this, and friends and everyone talking through each other. None of it was true. Like, he's just made up of drama and excuses. That's all he's ever going to be made up of, is drama and excuses and lies. But at the time, I wasn't rational about it. I wasn't thinking like, oh, he's just being dumb. I wasn't going to let it ruin my vacation, so for the last 2 days, I didn't want my sisters or my family or anyone to see how upset I was. I went along with everyone's stuff they were doing in Myrtle, and but when I got home, I was a wreck. For the rest of my summer, my vacation was in July, for the rest of my summer, I didn't talk to anyone all the way up until late August, like the last week of August when school started. I didn't talk to anyone. My phone was like dead all the time. I didn't text anyone. I didn't call anyone. I just kind of closed myself up in my room and cried all day and wondered, why me? Why am I here? Why can't he love me? Why did he lie to me? I thought I was going to get married. The biggest problem that I see now is that I gave him everything. My whole life. Everything that I had, all of my love, all of my hopes, all of my dreams, my future, everything that should be devoted to God, I gave to him. I gave to this boy, and when he left, he took everything with it. So, I had nothing when he left. I literally had nothing. I was a shell of a person, and that's what I felt like every day. And I relapsed into cutting a little bit, again, toward the end of the summer, and one day, this is like the big part of my whole testimony here, it took me 14 minutes to get to, because of backstories. One day, I decided, my priest at my family's church, my local church here, he always talks about how great heaven is. And if heaven's so amazing, if heaven's so eternal, and if heaven is so loving all the time, and I'm stuck here in this mess, I just want to go to heaven. I don't want to be here. I want to be in heaven. It sounds amazing. And so, I put that thought aside for a couple days. One night, every night I would stay up till 2, 3 in the morning, go for walks around my neighborhood, which is really bad because I live in like the ghetto. So going for walks at 2 in the morning while being depressed and crying the whole time I was walking was actually really terrifying now that I think of it, but I was numb to everything back then. I put that thought about wanting to go to heaven and die aside for a few weeks. I got into drinking a lot. I can't say I'm proud of that either. I got into drinking, and I'd go into my basement, and my mom never drank, but her ex-boyfriend and my grandpa, who stored some of his wine and beer in our fridge, and my uncle had some alcohol he was keeping at our house from like the 4th of July parties, like, you know, little things. We don't drink, but it's there. And I knew where it was. And I knew that people were saying how happy it made them, how fun it was, how it took away their problems, how if they drank enough they didn't even remember anything. And I thought, like, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to forget everything. So I'd go in my basement every other night, like 4, sometimes 5 times a week, and I'd drink and drink and I'd drink and lay on the floor and stare at my ceiling fan, and that's all I remember about every night. I remember maybe 5 minutes of each time I drank. I remember staring at my ceiling fan, and I remember drinking until I couldn't remember my name anymore. And then I remember waking up the next morning with the first time I ever drank that much. My cousins were here from Canada, and one of my cousins, she's 19, so, like, liberal and free-spirited. She has no religion. She has no views or opinions on anything. She's, like, pro everything that is gay marriage and marijuana. She just has no opinions on anything, though. She's totally, like, chill. Not the best example, but she's a good person. I love her. She's just not the best role model. And the drinking age in Canada is 19, though she's been drinking long before that. So she came here and said, "Does your mom have anything to drink?" And I was like, "Yeah, she has pina colada mix, she has peach Bellini mix, but normally I use the mix, but I don't put any alcohol in. I just put some Sprite in, and it tastes really good." And she was like, "Oh, here, I'll make some for you." And she went, "Here, I filled yours with Kahlua instead of Sprite. I put like 3/4 Kahlua, I put some vodka in it." And I was like, "You sure?" And she was like, "Yeah, you texted me before that you weren't feeling too well, and you were a little bit upset about losing your boyfriend or whatever, so this will pick you right up." And I was like, "Okay." So we stayed at my house together for a few days, and the adults from Canada, my like aunts and uncles and my nonna and stuff, all the adults hung out with adults. Me and my cousin Maria hung out because we were the kids. And she was like, "Wasn't that good?" And I was like, "Oh, it was a little bit like stingy, like, ooh, my throat burns, but yeah, I mean, it's everything's funny." Like, everything was hilarious. And she was like, "Hey, have another one, and have another one, and let's make 3 more, and let's just drink vodka straight out of the bottle." And I did all of it. I did anything she told me because I needed a role model. I needed someone to look up to. My role model was always that boy. He was everything. I had nothing. I was an empty shell of a person. And Maria came in that weekend, like a week after we broke up, and oh, my dog's barking. She came in like a week after we broke up, and had these ideas, like telling me all these things I could do to feel better, and I was like, "Okay, I'll trust you. You're 19. Why not? I've always looked up to you, and I have something to hold on to now that's not him." You know, she was the first thing that I had to hold on to that would give me some form of, like, control. I thought it was control. I had something stable. And so I just drank every night. When she left, she was like, "Here, I'll, she would buy alcohol and bring it to the house, and she was like, "Here, I'm leaving in a few days." Shh. One sec. She was like, "Here, I'm leaving in a few days. I'll store a bunch of alcohol in the fridge for you." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." So there was everything in there. There was like straight vodka, straight rum. There was wine coolers, and I would just like pick stuff up and be like chugging it back, and every night, because I didn't want to remember my life. And one day, back to the heaven thing, I was thinking about, like, cutting is a temporary solution. Alcohol is a temporary solution. Nothing is forever. And I remember my priest telling our family that heaven's forever. Heaven's amazing. Ooh, oh, this is cold, I'm telling you guys. Heaven is amazing. Heaven's forever, and there's nothing sad in heaven. And I was like, why am I stuck here? I was really depressed. This was the lowest point in my life. The drinking and the suicidal thoughts. And for the next few days, I was taking like 3 and 4 Advil, because if you take just a slight little, like 1 or 2 over the recommended dose, all it does is make you drowsy. And I thought, I stay up all night and go on walks. I'm depressed anyway. I just need to fall asleep early. So I would fall asleep like 10:30 every night, and then every night I'd add one Advil because I'd think, that made me drowsy. I bet one more will make me really tired. So I would add one more Advil every night. And one night I googled how many Advil does it take to die. Online and on the back of the bottle it says that 8, 9, or 10 average will produce internal bleeding, and you will die from internal bleeding. It says there's also a chance you'll die from just, your body will just go into shock from so much of the medication or something that your organs just shut down and you just die. So, one second. So one night I just took like 9 or 10 before bed, and my mom knows I take Advil before bed for my headaches and for just to go to sleep, and she didn't think anything of it. She didn't know I took 9 or 10. And I went to bed and I thought, I'll either bleed out or I'll just die and I'll wake up and I won't be here. I was like, I didn't think about anything. I just wanted to die. So I took the whole crapload of Advil and went to bed and thought, this is it. This is the last time I'm going to bed. And I woke up the next morning at like 7. And my first reaction was, well, if I didn't die last night, it's going to happen any time now. I went through the whole day without realizing that God saved me. That this wasn't an accident. This wasn't a coincidence that the 10 Advil didn't work. I went through the whole day like that. And the day after that, and the day after that, and by the third day after I tried this, and I realized nothing was happening, I realized this has something to do with God. I don't know what, but it's a miracle. I should be dead. And I thought, I was a little bit confused. I didn't know if this meant I should follow God, if this meant that, I don't know what this meant. I just knew that it had something to do with God, because nothing on this earth could have saved me. I should have been dead. And the real miracle comes in right about now. So after I took the Advil and nothing happened, 2 or 3 days after, I was still pondering, like, should I try it again? I don't know what I should do now. Like, it didn't work. My friend Nicole, my only Christian friend. Now, all my friends are Christian of some denomination, but none of them live it. You know, they're all far from it. They go to church. Some of them even go to church with me, but my one true Christian friend who really devoted her life to God, my friend Nicole, we have history together last year, and she texted me, like, out of the blue, and she said, like, I don't remember, it was something along the lines of, like, I just wanted to say I felt like texting you, I haven't talked to you in a while, and if you're struggling, remember that she gave me, like, a couple verses. She was like, if you're struggling, remember these, and I just want you to know that God's with you or something, and God loves you, He's watching over you, He's going to take care of you, and I just thought, like, wow. Like, this isn't a coincidence. Not only did God save me from myself, from physical death, but to bring Nicole's text. I haven't talked to her all summer, and it's August. It's August, and I haven't talked to her since May, or June 6th or whatever, and she's texting me out of the blue saying, God's with you. I know you're struggling, but it's okay. Like, that's not a coincidence of a text message. And that's when I decided I needed to get into my faith. I needed to start living my faith. So the first thing I did was I looked up Catholic doctrines and Catholic rules. And I figured if I'm telling people I'm Catholic, I better know what I'm telling them. And the more I looked into it, the more I disagreed with things. Not saying Catholics are bad, not saying that if you're a Catholic I don't like you. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying that the more I looked into it, the more I would say, like, I don't know if I agree with this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this little thing right here, this little rule that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if this is biblical. Let me research this. And I would compare Catholicism to every different denomination. I would compare it to Presbyterian, Lutheran, Baptist, Episcopalian, Evangelical Christian, and then I compared it to, like, overall Christianity. I did some hardcore research on every type of Christianity. And after almost a month after about a month of research, I decided that I needed to be just Christian. And it's not like I just woke up out of the blue one day and thought like, oh, let's just be Christian because God saved me. I did some hardcore research and I was looking into stuff and I decided Christianity, like Bible Christian, non-denominational, that's what I need. That's what I agree with, that's what I believe in. And that's what I am. My family is all Catholic. They didn't approve when I told them. I told my mom. My aunt kind of slowly figured out on her own. My grandparents have like a small idea that I'm not Catholic, that I believe in Christianity more, but I haven't straight up told them yet. I feel like it might be a little bit hard on them since they're so hardcore Catholic. But now that they're older, they're more like they're focusing on their personal relationship with Jesus. But long story short, my family was not having it. My mom was mad. She was freaking out. This went on for like a few weeks. So for like 3 or 4 weeks almost, me and my mom were fighting back and forth about, I am a Christian, no you're not, you're a Catholic, why are you doing this, I don't understand. And lately she's been getting a little bit better, you know, she's allowing me to go to a Christian youth group that I love. I have such an amazing family, Assembly of God. It's the youth group is called Stormfront, and she's getting better, she honestly is. And God has blessed her with such an amazing new job opportunity. We've always been really low on money. We've been struggling to even keep a house. My grandparents, my grandpa owns, his name is on the contract, on the deed for our house, for our car. He helps us pay for most of it because we've never been doing well with money. And God brought this amazing job to my mom that's paying really well. She's only in the trial period right now, so just keep her in your prayers, keep our family in your prayers if you're into that, you know, if you're gonna pray for us. But yeah. It's just really great, all the blessings that God's giving us. And her boss is a Christian. He'll stop in the middle of a workday and pray. He'll pray at the beginning and end of every workday. He calls her during phone meetings, and he'll just stop and say, let's just pray for your daughter real quick. I just feel like I need to pray for your daughter so she does well in school this week. And it's amazing. Like, not by God saving me and by God bringing me to Christianity and bringing me to Jesus, He's not only helping me, He's helping me, my friends at school who ask me about Jesus. He's helping me with my mother. Through me, I'll be reading the Bible on the couch, and she'll just randomly go like, what are you reading? Explain to me that verse. Explain that book to me. I never read the Bible. What's that about? And I'll just start telling her, and she's like, that's pretty cool. Like, God's just helping so many people. It's a ripple effect, and I just, like, to God be the glory. This is my favorite bracelet ever, because I can't take credit for anything. This is all God's doing, and it's just amazing. God saved me from this boy who was pulling me farther and farther away from Him. He saved me from death. My favorite verse, actually, I keep it inside my Bible that I got for my birthday from my grandma. My new Bible. I keep it on this little card that I wrote down because I always want it with me. It's Psalm 116:8, and it's, for you, Lord, have delivered me from death, my eyes from tears, and my feet from stumbling. And He literally has. He's literally saved me from physical death, from spiritual death, from my eyes from tears, my feet from stumbling, like everything about that verse. He's just really created a new person in me, and it's amazing. Two of my closest friends, Caitlin and Nicole, they're twinners. Like, every little detail God does is amazing. You don't think about it that often, but He had them move to the school last year, and they're two really devoted Christians, and they have helped me so much in my walk with Jesus. They've been so uplifting. They've always been there, always been telling me about Jesus, always been preaching the gospel to me, even when I didn't realize they were doing it last year, even before I became a Christian. While I was dating this boy, before I was dating this boy, they've always been there helping me, and, like, God put them in my life for a reason, and they keep me so strong in my faith, and I feel like we help each other, and I feel like they don't even know how much they've helped me. I don't even know if they realize how much of an impact they have made on my life, and they are two of my closest friends. So, that's my testimony. That's how I went from a girl who had her life devoted to a boy to a girl who's devoting her life to Jesus. That's how I was saved. That's how I'm alive today. And I really needed to share that with someone. And my goal is for one person, at least, my goal is for one person to see this and either have their life changed by it, or help someone else by telling them about it, telling them about my story. That's my goal, is for one person to see it and come to know Jesus more through it. And that's it. Thanks. It's been a half hour. Thanks for sticking with me if you have. Most people probably gone by the 15-minute mark, but if you've actually watched this through the whole half hour, even if you've skimmed through and dragged the little button across to make it go faster, thank you. Thanks for listening, and just all glory be to God for this video. My Tumblr is heyitsnadiamarie.tumblr.com. Hey, it's I-T-S, Nadia, N-A-D-I-A, Marie, M-A-R-I-E.tumblr.com. I run a Christian blog, and if you ever want to talk to me, my ask box is always open. My messaging box is always open, and if you ever need anything, I'm here, and I just want to tell all of you out there to stay strong. You are loved. You were fearfully and wonderfully made, and you have a purpose. God put you here. He has a plan for you, and you are going to change someone's life. Whether you know it or not, you are. Please don't give up. Please share this video with someone. Please at least just skim through it and watch it and help someone and help yourself. Thanks for watching. God bless all of you. Bye.